Marvelous hello, friends and loved ones, and welcome to, as you can see, a little bit of a different set. This is actually my 6th apartment in the 8 years that I have been running this channel. But since today is the 8th anniversary of my channel, I do want to talk about Glover again. Yes, I've talked about this game, I've talked about the Glover 2 demo, I've talked about the PS1 version, and I've even talked about the best and worst levels in this little platforming adventure. Now you'd think I'd be running out of titles by now, but the truth is, I do still have a couple of other tricks up my sleeve. And for this special 8th anniversary celebration, I decided not to do this one alone, so I'm gonna call up a good buddy of mine. Hey, Wolfkaosaun!
Yeah?
You want to talk about all the bosses in Glover with me?
I do not. Why do YouTubers always do these sketches where they're trying to collab with one another by talking on the phone? That's not even how most of us talk to each other. And this isn't even a phone.
Yeah, that's really annoying, isn't it? How did you...
We're really gonna have to talk about Glover bosses, aren't we?
Yes, we are! So today, my buddy Sean and I have put together a list of all the bosses in Glover. But instead of just discussing them sequentially, we've decided to rank them from worst to best. And just to clarify, all of our choices were based on the N64 versions of these fights. A few of them have subtle differences in the PlayStation version, like the Pirate World boss only having one minion in that version, but these differences didn't really change our overall thoughts too much, so we're just gonna focus on the original title.
In order to make it fair, unlike Glover's physics, John and I each came up with our own lists, and the boss's placement on those lists assigned them a certain amount of points. So if I, for example, had the Atlantis boss at number 4, it would get 3 points. But if it was John's number 1, it would get 6 points for a grand total of 9.
There were a few that we agreed upon and a few that we didn't, but overall we think we've created a fair list of all the bosses in Glover from worst to best. Let's get this ball rolling.
Do you want to say it?
Oh no, you're the guest. I insist.
Frankie sucks!
He sucks so bad! I said there were a few that we agreed upon, and we both had this guy at our number 6 slot for the lowest possible score of only 2 points. While I generally like the Fortress of Fear aesthetics and don't mind the idea of fighting a Frankenstein's monster, the key word there is fight, which you don't really do. It's more of a boss stage, which I wouldn't hate if this was a bigger, more open mad scientist lab that you had to bring the ball around and activate multiple switches with, but it's not. It's actually a really cramped and confined tube of an arena.
Frankie just kind of hobbles around the stage and you can't hurt him. Instead, you have to climb up these platforms and ground pound them to make a staircase that you can dribble the ball up. Once there, you can activate the switch to instantly kill the boss. However, since this is a top-down view, it's extremely hard to be precise with your platforming. And not only that, sometimes it's hard to tell just how low a platform is. And if you mess up, well, that's too bad. Gotta wait for the next loop to try and climb up.
He will occasionally electrify one of the platforms, which really just wastes your time, and that's what this boss is. It's a time-consuming chore with no real fight to be had. It's not fun and easily the worst boss experience in the entire game.
Frankie, I'm glad you're dead. Wish I could do it again.
Next up is Spanky from Pirate World, and
Hold up, wait a minute. They named a monkey boss Spanky?
Of course not, you weirdo! Spanky is very clearly an ape. You can tell because he doesn't have a tail. This is another one that didn't do particularly well on either of our lists. We both had it at number 5, giving it a grand total of only 4 points. Unlike Frankie though, I personally don't think Spanky is particularly horrible.
You have the main boss hanging from this tree while the other 2 apes come after you and try to steal your ball. If you get too close to Spanky, he will attack you, so you mainly just need to lead these other 2 away and then line up a shot to hit the target on the boss's chest. He even shrinks with each hit to make the fight a little harder as it goes on, but even then it's pretty simple.
Yeah, it's not super bad or anything, and it kind of uses Glover's mechanics in a way where you need to combine distance, angles, and timing to get a clear shot. It's just not very... Sean, what's the word I'm looking for?
fun. It's not fun. This entire game isn't fun.
You know how sometimes people will say something like, Star Fox Adventures isn't a bad game, it's just a bad Star Fox game. Yeah, well, Cross-Stitch's boss fight isn't a bad fight. It's just not the type of showdown they should have done for this character. The fight begins with Cross-Stitch enlarging a robot named Ratchet, and rather than fighting it, you have to make your way over to an elevator in its foot and channel your inner Shinji by getting in the robot. Then Cross-Stitch starts piloting a different robot named Crank, and—
Wait, hold up. You're gonna sit here and tell me that the two robots' names are Ratchet and Crank?
Huh? Yeah, I guess so. Weird. Ratchet and Crank.
The main fight is now a rail shooter where you have to shoot balls at Crank, as well as at any incoming missiles to stop yourself from getting hurt. If this had just been a Crank boss battle, yeah, it's not really all that bad.
But this is the final showdown against Cross-Stitch, and I think it would have been way better to have a Magic Glove versus Magic Glove showdown that actually utilized Glover's main mechanics. I am a big fan of boss fights where you're fighting someone who basically has the same powers that you do, and that's kind of what Cross-Stitch should have been.
Yeah, it's kind of a letdown. Sure, it would have been cool to have this fight near the middle or even beginning phase before the final magical showdown with Cross-Stitch, but instead you're just chucking balls at a robot. It'd be higher for me if it wasn't the final boss.
It's a whale. Crab. Fish. Yeah.
Actually, like all the bosses in the game, this totem pole monstrosity does have a proper name. It's
Wendell!
Are all three of them individually named Wendell, or do you think that's like their collective gang name?
I promise you, I do not care enough to find out.
As the first boss fight in the game, Wendell is pretty simple, but I've always liked it because I think it's the boss that best utilizes Glover's attack capabilities, as you use both the ball and your ground pound to defeat it. Truthfully, this was my number 1 pick, but since it was Sean's number 4, it did get held back on our list by quite a bit.
The thing that's most annoying to me is this flying fish knight, whatever this is. Anyway, it becomes difficult to hit him with the ball due to the camera angle and him ground pounding a shockwave that pushes the ball around. Sure, this could be a simple boss, but if you screw up one time, it can send you on a timing loop where anytime you get the ball to transform or shoot it, Bird Knight just smacks you. The rest is fine, but screwing up with the flying thingy, it's a bad time.
I have a sudden craving for seafood.
Yo, a super cool dinosaur with sunglasses who's just vibing in ice? What's this guy's name? It's something like Tubular Rex or Ratasaurus or...
No, it's Keith. Keith the dinosaur.
Oh. So, while John had Wendell at number 1, this guy was my number 1 choice. It's arguably the easiest boss in the game and is basically a few rounds of dinosaur bowling. He's down there, we're up here, and you roll the ball down and you try to hit him. I just think it's pretty neat that I can bowl at a T-Rex in shades.
You've just gotta dodge his slow-moving fireballs, and it won't be long before he explodes into a pile of smoldering shoes. Keith isn't the most challenging or engaging boss fight in the game, but I will acknowledge that it is honestly one of the most fun. So the funniest thing about our number 1 pick is that he wasn't either of our number 1 picks, and truthfully, he actually tied for points with Keith.
John and I both had Clunk the Clown at number 2 and... Wait, his name is Clunk?
Yeah, that is a terrible clown name. Even, like, Clonky would have been better.
We both had him at number 2, which gave him 10 points. And we just agreed that being the highest ranking boss we both agreed upon should secure him the number 1 spot.
Something that's kinda strange is that our best Glover boss actually has a lot in common with our worst Glover boss. You can't hurt Clunk directly, and it mainly involves moving around in a fairly cramped circular arena.
But while Frankie was more about spending time moving around the boss and setting up a route to one-hit kill, Clunk's arena is much more frantic and active. You need to use the ball to hit 3 different targets while this massive clown is trying to throw pies at you, and the floor beneath you starts spinning faster each time you hit him.
The boss is also a really good use of the circus theme. The switches you hit blow Clunk up with a cartoony bomb, punch him in the face with a boxing glove, and finish him off by dropping a piano on him. It's all very cartoonish, and I liked that.
It's engaging, colorful, and a relatively good boss fight for Glover. That sure wasn't either of our personal favorites, but is probably good enough to be called the best boss fight in Glover. Though I want it on the record that I hate this game, and I think that's like saying which toe is your favorite stub.
And with that, another anniversary video is wrapped up. Thanks to all of you for celebrating 8 years of this channel with me. And thanks to my good buddy Sean for joining me on this particular adventure. He actually did a pretty massive video of his own on all the different versions of Glover that you should all check out after watching this.
I promised I would never, ever review any kind of Glover content ever again. Why? Why did you make me do this?
Because it's fun! So what do you say, buddy? See you again in 2 years?
No, absolutely not. Can you just send me back?
You got it!
Shazam!
This isn't my house.
Hey everyone, thanks for watching my video. If you liked it, be sure to click like, but if you really liked it, don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss out on any future videos. Extra special thanks to all my friends and loved ones over on Patreon, which you can pledge to today to see your own name in these ending credits. Thanks again for watching, and until next time, take care.